In this video, we're going to talk about work-life balance. I'm actually about to take an extended vacation, so you won't be seeing videos for several weeks. And I thought I would use this occasion, this big vacation, to talk about some of the main obstacles that we face in terms of work-life balance, and then 3 practical tips for moving in the right direction. So let's get into the details. Hello again, friends. If we have not met yet, my name is Lyon, and this channel Communication Coach is here to help people like you, rising leaders, increase your impact so you can lead the people around you to higher levels of excellence. And so if you have never subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to do so. Today's topic is work-life balance. I want to talk about 3 obstacles to work-life balance and then 3 concrete tips to help move us in that direction. So let's start with the obstacles. In my experience, there are 3 false premises, false beliefs that we have that prevent us from establishing a healthy and effective work-life balance. The first one is that a lot of people believe falsely that busyness equals value, equals productivity. I know I talk to some people and they wear busyness like a badge of honor. They're always talking about how busy they are. But there's very little relationship between how busy you are and how many hours you're occupied and your actual productivity or the actual value that you deliver to your organization. There's a bunch of research, and I'll link to it in the description below, that shows after about 40 hours, your productivity drops off severely. And you can maybe work here and there a little longer than that. But on average, if you work more than 40 and especially more than 50 hours a week on tasks, on your job, you're just not being productive anymore. You're essentially wasting time. And not only are you wasting time at work, you're burning yourself out at home. So busyness does not equal productivity. That's premise number 1 that's false. False premise number 2 is that it's the organization's responsibility to maintain that boundary between work and your private life. For years, I've got resentful, like, man, they keep asking me for things. Why don't they just back off a little bit? But that's a totally wrong belief. It is up to you as the individual to maintain that boundary. I wish that employers did this on their own, but they're just not going to do it. They're always going to want more time and energy and effort out of you. The third misbelief is that by taking time off or by maintaining this work-life balance, it'll hurt your career. In fact, I think it's exactly the opposite. Some of the most successful and even wealthy people I know have a firm and clear boundary between work and their personal lives. They're very successful and they rarely work more than normal 40 hours a week, except on rare special occasions. And they're very effective at work as a result. And not only are they effective at work and successful at work, they have very satisfying home lives, satisfying marriages, and they're well-rounded. They exercise, they take good care of themselves. So I think that in the long run, maintaining a work-life boundary is great for your career. Now, it's also true that I know some very successful people who work more than that, but I don't think it's because of the hours they put in. I just think that it's because they are pretty good at what they do. A lot of times, however, the difference is those people who are working 60 or 70 or more hours a week and have very poor work-life balance, they're not generally exercising. They don't have a well-rounded family life, and so usually that's the area of their lives that suffer. So those are 3 false premises, misbeliefs that I believe people have about this work-life balance. Let's turn now to the possible solutions. First practical tip is to use technology to your advantage. You want to use out-of-office replies on email and voicemail to maintain that boundary. In your out-of-office replies, make sure you do 2 things. You have to show that they can get their needs met elsewhere by giving plenty of contact information. So you're delegating ways for them to solve their problem to administrative people or other people who are supervising and on the job. The second thing you want to do in your out-of-office reply is make sure that they know you're not back until a certain date. And what I like to do in addition to that is say that in the meanwhile, I'm going to assume that you've solved your problem. So if you still need my help as of that date, then reach out to me again. And one of the big advantages of this is once they see this, they go, oh, I guess he really is serious, he's on vacation. So they'll go and they'll solve their problem elsewhere. So then when you get back to work, you don't have a whole backlog of hundreds of emails to deal with. Most of those people have gone on and solved their problem. In my experience, this works really well. So the second thing you want to do to maintain this work-life balance is put the 3 R's on your calendar. That's rest, recreation, and relationships. And you have to put these things on your calendar, as stiff as that might sound, because if you don't block out time for the 3 R's, everything else will fill in its place. That busyness will creep in and start messing up your work-life balance. You've got to put date night on the calendar. You've got to put those long weekend vacations and camping on the calendar. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And the third practical tip is to learn how to say no with practice. So you actually have to have some polite phrases to say no that don't make you sound defensive, that don't signal any kind of sense of guilt that you might have about saying no. You got to get comfortable with it with practice. So you want to say things like, I'm sorry, Friday is already booked. How about Monday? Or no, Saturday's not going to work for me. What about Tuesday? So you have to figure out ways to say no and redirect that person to either somebody else who can help them or a time where you are available to help them. And if you can set technology as an advantage instead of a way the organization reaches in, if you can use the 3 R's in your personal life and protect those on your calendar and learn how to say no, you'll have very little problem maintaining that work-life balance. Question of the day, what are your tips for work-life balance? In addition to the 3 that I've already mentioned, I would love to hear your suggestions below. I learn a lot from your suggestions. So thanks, God bless, and I will see you in the next video.